Hello there, and happy Groundhog Day from Kenny's to Pennies. And it seems as though Punxsutawney Bill did not see his shadow, so I guess we're gonna have an early spring. Of course, we've had a pretty mild winter already, so 6 more weeks of this, I'll take it. Thanks to that little rodent. Of course, who needs a rodent to predict the rest of winter anyway? Oh well, let me get from Punxsutawney Bill to talking about what has become an impromptu holiday. It's Super Bowl Sunday coming up. It's the 50th anniversary of the big game, and it's Denver and Carolina who are going to be playing this year. And it's going to be the old gunslinger against the young gun. Of course, 2 years ago, you know what that got Peyton Manning. It was Manning against Russell Wilson, and you saw how Russell Wilson outdueled Peyton Manning. And from what you heard Peyton Manning whisper after Denver won the AFC Championship, you wonder if this is the old gunslinger's last rodeo. He's 39. This is his 4th time at the big dance. Of course, he's only won it once. I know he'd like to win it again. But you gotta look and see how loaded Carolina is, especially with Cam Newton, Luke Kuechly, and all the others. And of course, the blindside guy, Michael Orr, protects Cam Newton. It's gonna be a heck of a game. And of course, last night they called it the Super Bowl opening night, a new fancy way to talk about Media Day, which of course the players and the coaches sometimes make fools of themselves, if you know what I mean. And of course, you got all the hype leading up to it. And of course, you got who's going to sing the national anthem, who's going to be the halftime entertainment. Oh well, I just rather see him play football. And of course, everybody wants to look to see what commercials air because that's prime advertising real estate during the Super Bowl. You got all the ladies wondering what products are they going to put on, or what are the Clydesdales for Budweiser going to do. Of course, I look forward to that commercial, but I digress. I'd rather see him play football. And if you ask me who I think is going to win, even though it could be the last hurrah for the arguably the greatest quarterback to ever play football, I kind of think the young gun is going to have his way. I think Cam Newton and the Panthers are going to win. And if this is the last hurrah for Peyton Manning, it's been a hell of a career and I've enjoyed watching you. Well, we'll see, won't we? We go from the Super Bowl to talking about something else that seems to have a lot of hype. Too much hype. Because for the last few months, all you hear are the barbs being traded back and forth between the candidates for the Republicans and the Democrats. Well, last night, it finally came to a head. Finally, it's time for the caucuses and the primaries. Iowa, which always leads off the race heading towards the day when we elect our next president, spoke loud and clear last night. And for all his bluster, all his talk, Donald Trump didn't win the Iowa caucuses. It was Ted Cruz who came out victorious for the Republicans. But of course, all the talk is the Democrats, Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, being in a dead heat. 5 votes. Yeah, and guess what? Clinton declares victory. How can you declare victory when there seems to be some absentee ballots left? Well, it's a virtual dead heat. Of course, it's on to New Hampshire next. But it seems as though night after night, you hear about barbs being traded back and forth between the candidates. All of this, all of that. Donald Trump with all of his bombastic comments and everything. But the truth is, I'm kind of leaning towards either Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio as my vote for president. As I mean, for all of his talk and all of his stuff, do you think Donald Trump could be an effective leader? Well, I don't know, but he's angered a lot of people along the way. Of course, you know what they said about a Civil War general who blustered a lot, General Ted Pope, who wound up going to a disastrous loss at the Second Battle of Manassas. His subordinates said, Pope doesn't know his headquarters from his hindquarters. Of course, we'll see come November whether it's going to be Trump, Cruz, Rubio for the Republicans, or either Sanders or Clinton for the Democrats. Of course, I shudder to think what it'll be if Clinton wins the Democratic nomination or if Sanders wins, because I don't think a socialist is wanted to be the leader of the free world, if you know what I mean. Of course, all of this has gone off and running. It's gonna be a long 8 months, if you know what I mean. Let's go from talking about potential presidential candidates to Syracuse, shall we? Well, it was a pretty good week for basketball, with big wins over Notre Dame and that hairline win against Georgia Tech. And I mean hairline win, because he was still able to launch that lob from 45 feet that nearly went in to send it into overtime. Oh well, for a team that looked down and out a few weeks ago, especially when Boeheim came back from his suspension, that looked like it was doomed for the NIT, or maybe even a losing record. They're starting to show that they're still a strong bunch. And of course, the stretch run is coming up, starting tonight with Virginia Tech. Well, let's see. Let's hope Boeheim and the Orange continue on the upward trend, shall we, as we head towards March Madness, a little over a month away, because the ACC tournament and the NCAA tournament are coming up, and the Orange better start going for the stretch run. And also, let's talk about tomorrow, signing day for the new Syracuse football recruits coming in. When Dino Babers took over, a lot of Scott Shapers' commits decided to leave. They had like 16 of them, and about 11 of them said, goodbye, including Lindsey Scott Jr., who decided that he didn't want to have Matt Park do an imitation of Bill Munson. So what does he do? He goes to LSU. Yeah, like Les Miles has got all of the good recruits. And of course, what about Alabama sighing another big class? Year after year, it seems as though those SEC schools mine all the great talent, if you know what I mean. But I digress. Dino Babers and his staff have done a heck of a job getting a class together that may be the best class Syracuse has had in years. 21 recruits in the fold right now, maybe even a couple of more. It'll be an interesting day tomorrow to see who comes up to University Hill. And last but not least, I want to talk about the potential of Seneca County maybe going before the Board of Supervisors to buy the depot, because we don't want to sell it to a private entity. Of course, many people are wondering about the Seneca white deer population. It seems as though it's gone down. Well, maybe if the county does buy the depot land, maybe there'd be ways to save the herd, and also maybe promote a little ecotourism, if you know what I mean. Because, it's a unique population with those white deer. Of course, could it be a little bit of an omen, if you know what I mean? Because supposedly the white buffalo is supposedly an omen to American Native Americans, if you know what I mean. Let's hope the white deer doesn't have that aura. Let's hope it's a good aura for Seneca County. And let's root Friday night for the Miners Blue Devils to beat the Waterloo Indians. I'm Ken Haas, and those are my rants for this week.